There is only one place where you can capture the big five of Indian wildlife in a single frame: the Kaziranga National Park, home to eastern swamp deer, elephant, rhinoceros, wild buffalo, and the tiger. It has the highest density of tigers anywhere in the world. Yet, the tiger is not the headline in these parts. It is the greater one-horned rhinoceros who bosses these grasslands. Join us as we journey through this incredible landscape to bring you some of the most amazing tales from this rhino land. We arrived in Kaziranga 24 hours ago to run straight into one of the biggest challenges facing the park management: poaching. Home to the world's 75% population of the greater one-horned rhinoceros, the park is under tremendous pressure from poachers. All the three varieties of the Asian rhinos, including the Sumatran rhino and the Javan rhino, were present in India till the 20th century. Only the one-horned rhino survives today. But even this species is under tremendous pressure from the poachers. Its unique geographic location makes the park particularly vulnerable to poaching. The Karbi Anglong Hills to its south and the mighty Brahmaputra on its north are both open, porous borders, difficult to patrol. Poachers use both the land and river route to sneak into the park undetected. After yesterday's ambush at the Burra Pahar range, the range officials decide to intensify their patrolling in the area. The anti-poaching task force spans out across the park, on foot as well as on boats. There is a third route the poachers often use: the Kukarkata Hills. Hundreds of ancient caves in the hills are being used by the poachers as a safe haven. The biggest of them is the dreaded Bat Cave. Range officer Pushpadhar Borgohain and his men decide to trek right up to these caves in the aftermath of the poaching incident. They need to make sure that no more poachers are hiding in these caves. We want to film the operation, but Borgohain is reluctant at first. He warns me that this is an extremely risky operation. Not only is there a possibility of coming up against poachers, the climb up the hill is very treacherous too. He eventually agrees to let us accompany his team, but cautions us to keep close to the armed guards. Part of the journey is completed by boat, and then we arrive at the foot of the hills from where the climb begins. The hills are alive with the piercing calls of the hula gibbons, the only ape living in the Indian jungles. Brachiating from tree to tree using their powerful long arms, they seldom put a foot on land. No surprise that they are called the acrobats of the jungle. Only few survive in the forests of Northeast, especially Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. There are only 3 families with not more than 12 members living in these hills. This morning, they have descended to the trees at the bottom of the hills when we spot them. As we begin our climb up the Kukarkata hill, I find out that there is a story behind its name. Legend has it that centuries ago, local tribes living in these hills used to offer the jungle fowl as a sacrifice in these caves. Borgohain and his rangers offer us one more chance to retreat and return. They point out that no camera team has gone up these caves and there is a real possibility of coming up against poachers. It's a scary thought, but we do want to film this operation and the Bat Cave. As we start the climb, I wonder, what will we find lurking in these shadowy caves? We are accompanying the range officer of Burapahar range of the Kaziranga National Park and his team of armed guards on their patrol up the hills. Their mission is to search and flush out any poachers who might be using these caves as a hideout. It's a treacherous pathway and the team cautiously makes their way up, often pausing to test a particular rock or water stream for stability before moving ahead. I cannot help but reflect on the irony of fate that has made the Indian rhino live in the very region where its horn is considered more valuable than gold. And used in traditional medicine as a cure for various ailments ranging from epilepsy, fever, strokes, and impotency to cancer. The Indian rhino is the largest of the three Asian species. Weighing around 2 tons, it is most recognized by its armored appearance thanks to its skin folds. I remember reading Rudyard Kipling's book Just So Story, which tells how the rhinoceros got his skin. A Parsi by the name of Pestanji Bomanji baked the most delicious cake. But before he could eat it, there came a rhino. The rhino, who had no manners, ate his cake. A few days later, on a very hot afternoon, the rhino took off his skin to take a dip in the water. Those were the days when his skin was smooth and fitted him snugly. Pestanji Bomanji saw his chance for revenge. He filled the rhino's skin with cake crumbs. When the rhino returned after his bath and wore his skin, the crumbs tickled and itched under his skin. The more he scratched, the worse it got. He rolled on the sand and he rubbed himself against a palm tree. He rubbed himself so hard that he rubbed folds into his skin. So he went home very angry and scratchy. Since that day, the rhinoceros has great folds in his skin and a very bad temper. The rhinos do seem to have a temper, and if provoked, can charge at a formidable speed and trample a person. Despite their bulk, they have been known to clock 30 miles an hour. But the horn is not used in fights. Unlike his African cousins, the Indian rhino uses its teeth as a weapon of offense, taking big bites off their opponent. These imperious beasts have survived for over 40 million years on our planet, but are under severe threat today. Back in the hills, the trek has become very difficult now. The closer we move to the bat cave, the more danger there is of coming up against any poachers hiding in these caves. Overnight rain has made the rocky pathway more slippery than usual. While me and the production crew are struggling to negotiate the path, going must be tough for the guards too. But they just seem to take it in their stride. Many of them are bare feet. They tell me that is the best way to get a grip on the slippery surface. So much for my expensive hiking shoes, which don't seem to be doing me any good. We are barely halfway up the climb when we come to a point where there is no clear way ahead. We will have to crawl through a very narrow opening in the rocks. It's really impossible. We're just halfway up there, and already we're really struggling. I've just been caught by a lead. Oh, God. Oh, I can feel them crawling all over me. Oh. I can't help but wonder what makes the forest guards take this risk. And mind you, they have to do this on a regular basis. I can understand why the poachers take this risk. They can look forward to a big cash reward if they manage to make off with the rhino horn. Yet the forest guards, many of them casual workers earning a meager salary, risk their lives for nothing more than a sense of duty and pride in protecting the rhino. Incredible how they do it day in and day out. While I'm contemplating our next move, the guards urge me to move on. They have a mission to complete. We are now dangerously close to encounter territory. We cannot turn back now. The only way is up. We are dangerously close to poachers' territory in the hills of Kukarkata in the Burra Pahar range of the Kaziranga National Park. The porous boundary and numerous entry points have made Kaziranga more vulnerable to poaching. Patrolling these porous borders and keeping infiltrators in check is the biggest challenge before the park management.
The one side is the mountain and other side is the mighty Brahmaputra. And in between also the areas where there is no fencing, nothing like river, etc. So there is a porous boundary. Everyone can pass through a thick jungle. Kaziranga is very near to our international border. maybe 300, 400 kilometers away from the border. So lots of other gangs which are involved in the poaching, they have the interest and they take the easiest path through inside the jungle to the different hillocks and hills. So we face a lots of problem in controlling those poachers by entering inside the park.
The ancient Kukarkata hills bordering the Burra Pahar area provide a safe haven to poachers who often lie in wait for days in these hills looking for a suitable opportunity to sneak in. Hence the need to keep regular checks on the hill and the various routes coming down from it to the park. The range officer had warned me that the trek to the dreaded Bat Cave will be tough, but nothing had prepared me to how treacherous these hills could be. It's a hot and muggy morning as we make the climb. The muddy and wet pathway is slippery and extremely dangerous. One wrong step and you could slip into an abyss. There is nothing you can hold on to in case you lose balance. To make matters worse, the floor and the rocks are covered with leeches. As we struggle to make our way upward without any mishap, I'm also aware of the more sinister danger. What if the poachers are hiding in one of the caves watching us as we make our way forward? But Borgohain and his men are alert to the danger. Leading the way forward, they are not letting their guard down even for a minute. There is a very real threat from armed militant outfits working in this area. These hills are also in their influence and often these outfits engage in poaching in order to buy themselves more arms and ammunition. The going is slow. But finally, after nearly 3 hours, we reach the cave. We are asked to stay back as the guards get in position. We anxiously wait at a distance, hoping the area is clear. The armed guards make their way in to check for poachers. Thankfully, we are able to breathe a sigh of relief as they give the signal for an all clear. We are allowed to move forward and I climb up to get a glimpse of the Bat Cave. Oh my God, this is incredible. We walked 4 kilometers through treacherous and slippery rocks. And here we are at the dreaded Bat Cave. Dreaded because the poachers use it as a hideout. Once they've killed the rhino and taken the horn, they use caves like this to hide. And once they have the safety cover of these caves, there's very little that the authorities can do. As we make our way back, battered and bruised, I'm glad we did not run into any poachers today. But this climb has been an eye-opener for me. Never could I have imagined the risks and the struggle the rangers face on a daily basis to keep the Indian rhinoceros safe. It's literally an uphill battle. For me, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. For them, it's daily duty.
Ja.